Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this beautiful online offering from Donnacosha Buddhist Center in Balquhidder, Scotland, where I should be leading a live retreat this week. I should be there in person starting last Friday up until next Friday, this Friday coming. But due to COVID-19, here we all are. So in this enforced time of rest. So we're in an enforced time of rest. My name is Shuddhasara, and I'm delighted to be invited to do this short series. It's 4 classes with you, for you and with you. Some of you I recognize from previous retreats, so welcome back, and also hello to people who maybe I don't know. Just a little bit about me. I've been a yoga teacher for many, many years. I won't say how many, too many, 50 years or something, working with the body. And more recently, I've been doing a lot of fascial release work, so a lot of somatic work. So somatic work is really quite different. So when we do yoga, we're doing a lot of proprioceptive work as well as somatic work, so it's a little bit of a blend. Whereas the somatic work is more about sensing and feeling, which is what soma is about the body. I have a lot of things I want to say about that. Okay. And it's the feeling in the body. So this is a somatic movement training. Okay. And actually what we're training and reorganizing is the fascial net. So the fascial net, there's been a huge amount of more research into the fascia than anything else in the body world in recent years, particularly with Tom Myers and Robert Schlepp and all the big people in somatic movement and in fascial work. A lot of scientific research showing that more nerves are 9 times more nerves in the fascia than anywhere else. So, and they work, so these receptors in the fascia work directly on the brain. So there's a lot of neuroplasticity. So this is a lot of interest to neuroscientists. So it's a bit about enlarging your brain maps, as well as reorganizing the fascial membranes and tissues that surround everything. It's woven everywhere in the body. This is the bit they used to throw away in the anatomy classes, and now it's huge research into this stuff. And there's lots of different kinds of fascia, and it's a very big field, and I'm not going to go into all that. It's just far too much. But I did want to say that the point of doing the work is to reorganize the fascial tissue to improve. What it does is it improves the tone of the muscles that it surrounds, and also the range of motion in the joints. So all of those things can't really be brought into a true balance without working with the fascia. So, and the other thing that it does is it downloads the central nervous system, or the parasympathetic system, which is very much uploaded during this time. So a lot of people are under a lot of stress with this COVID and the lockdown, as it were. And these are ways to download the central nervous system and upload the parasympathetic system. So that's the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the hormonal system, so the glands, the lymphatic system, and the immune system, and the nervous system. Okay, so we're readdressing the balance. This practice is all about addressing that. And it's a sensing feeling. So it's interoception as opposed to proprioception. So it's an inside job. It's all about sensing and feeling. It's done very passively. We're going to do it unloaded, working with gravity instead of against it. So we're going to do it lying on our back and then lying on our tummy. I mean, it does get more involved, but we're going to start slow. And we're going to start with the back body line, because in a way it's the more important line. So it's not the more important line, but it's kind of an important line because it's the postural line. So the back body line is what holds us up in the world. It's what supports you every day in your life and your posture, for better or for worse. So that back body line actually starts in the bottom of our foot. I'm going to show you, I'm going to hold up a picture and show you what that looks like. And there's back body line, a front body line, a deep front line, lateral lines, spiral lines, functional lines, and arm lines. And that's about it. Those are the superficial lines. So they're the ones that we're going to be working with mostly in this course. And of course, that has an effect everywhere. So when you move something, everything is affected. Yeah, so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is taken from Tom Myers. This is his book, Anatomy Trains. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how well you can see that. I'm going to put it on speaker so I can just see myself what you can see. Oh, it's not working. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is the old one. There's newer ones out. And the line that we're going to work mostly with today, although we're going to work with all the lines because you can't really work with one on its own. Everything's connected, yeah? But there's that back body line, okay? And it starts in the plantar fascia of the foot. So if you've ever had plantar fasciitis, you'll know right where that is. We'll start hopefully with ball work next week. So I'll introduce the idea of props at the end of the class rather than at the beginning. And we're going to start with the center of the foot, and it's going to affect the whole back body line, especially this thoracolumbar area. Then it goes all the way up and attaches to the occipital, all the way up both sides of the spine. You actually have two, one on each side. They join here, and they actually cross here. And it goes all the way up, it attaches to the base of the skull, comes over the skull, and attaches to your eyebrows. Yeah, all the way there. So every time you squint your eyebrows and look at a screen, you're disturbing your back body line. And how much of you are on a screen every day? Massive. So now more than ever, we're on screens. More than ever, we're on screens. So we're disturbing that back body line. The other thing is we're doing a lot of sitting. And that sitting is also disturbing the back body line. It breaks the line, okay? So that disconnect in the body lines starts to the fascia starts to get felted. It becomes disorganized. So the movements we're going to do today are going to releasing some of that felting and reorganizing those tissues. And I've got my skeleton handy, and so I thought it might be kind of nice to introduce her because she's my companion. I bought her to keep me company during the lockdown because I live by myself. Okay, so there it is. I don't know if you can see her. Yeah, there she is. Okay, and there's that back body line, okay? And it actually starts here in the plantar fascia at the sole of the foot. So I'm going to talk a lot about dorsiflexion, that's when you bring your toes toward your face and you extend your heel. So that action lengthens the back body line and it comes over the heel, Achilles, up the gastroc, up the hamstrings. It crosses here, so you have two. You have to imagine it on the other side as well. It binds together here in like a big kite shape. Goes out to the sides and up. And then it comes up both sides of the spine, comes up underneath, attaches to the occipital bone, comes all the way around and attaches to your eyebrow. Okay? So that's the back body line. I'm going to put her hat on because her head isn't very nice. Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh, there, doesn't look very nice. Okay, so we're going to get started with the movement. So this movement, the movement that we're going to do today, most of it is based on the work of Thomas Hanna, Moshe Feldenkrais. My teacher, the teacher that I've been training with this is T.S. Little from Prana Yoga in New Mexico. I've been doing this training for 4 years, and I'm at the end of it now. So let's get started with some movement. So we're going to start. I'd like you, if possible, please, to have your head at this end. Your camera needs to be so that I can see the whole of your sticky mat. And normally in this work, we do not demonstrate it. Part of the work is that your brain has to figure it out. And in doing that, you start to increase your brain maps. But I will demonstrate because it's the first day and I will, but I don't want you to look at me. What I want you to do is to get started. You need to have your blanket over your sticky mat, tucked in from one end to the other. This is all sliding and gliding. If you don't have a blanket over your sticky mat, you won't be able to do this work. So it needs to be length over the sticky mat, end to end, tuck in the two ends. And then when you have I need to see people, the people who there's 4 people here who I cannot see you and I need to see you. I just have to see you, that's the deal. So you can see your blanket and you can see my blanket. You can see my blanket. Yeah, I think it's better to have it up here. Okay, I think you can see that. Okay, there we go. Okay. So we're going to start lying on our back. In Shavasana. So we're not going to place ourselves. We're just going to roll down, head at one end, extend the legs, allow the arms to come down by your sides, relaxed arms, palms to the ceiling, palms up. And let's just take a few breaths here. So the first thing we're going to do is just unload the weight of our bones. So we're really resting the weight of the bones into the floor, letting gravity work differently. So we change our relationship to gravity, everything changes. So sense and feel your weight and begin to notice the weight of your heel bones. So if I were to come in with a piece of colored chalk and draw around your body, that would be your signature shape. And this is how we look in space. So you may notice maybe one foot, maybe the pressure is different on one heel than the other. Maybe one leg rolls out more than the other, or one foot. And then notice your sacrum. Notice the weight of your sacrum, that big heavy bone at the back of the base of your pelvis. And maybe you're toward the bottom end of it, or maybe you're toward the waist end, or maybe you're in the middle. Maybe the pelvis is rolling a little bit from one side. Maybe you feel the pelvis rolls a bit one way. Just notice. And then the back of the rib cage. Just feel the back of the rib cage. Feel the weight. And that too may feel fine. It may feel centered. It may feel shifted. One side, the rib cage might feel like it's higher up to the ceiling than the other side. So just check it. You're not trying to correct anything. You're not fixing anything. And you're certainly not judging anything. All you're doing is really observing how it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. And then your shoulder girdle, how is that? Is that actually are the shoulder blades in the back? Are they on the back ribs, or are the shoulders peeling? Can you feel are the shoulders peeling up away from the floor? Maybe one shoulder feels flat and one is rolling away from the floor. Just notice. And the weight of your arms. The arms, the elbows, the backs of the hands, the knuckles. And the weight of your skull bone, the weight of your head. Just feel the bone release, skull bone. So you surrender to gravity. You let gravity help you. So all of this work is using the breath and sliding and gliding. It almost all stays on the floor. So now that you've kind of got a reading of your shape, as it were, let's just connect with the breath. So start to notice the sensations of your breath in the body. So maybe you can feel the chest and the ribs moving, but you don't feel much in the abdominal area. Or maybe you feel a lot in the abdominal area, but not much in the chest or the side ribs or the back ribs. So if putting your hand on your abdomen or your chest helps you, please do that. Feel free to put a hand on the lower abdomen and a hand on your chest. Because then you can feel the movement under your hands. The hands are very sensitive, so you can feel the movement under your hands. So just to register if it's a long breath or a short breath, or soft or harsh. Just where in the body you feel it. Are you just breathing in the abdomen and not much happening in the chest, or vice versa? Or maybe you feel that your breath is all up in your throat and in your upper chest, up in your upper top ribs. You put your hands there, up on your chest, upper chest. So we're just checking in with ourselves. All we're doing is noticing what's there. We're not judging it. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not right. It's not wrong. And then we're going to start to move. We're going to see at the end of it the effects of the practice on this Shava. This will be our test and retest. We'll keep coming back to this shape to see how things feel. So we're looking for sensation. Remember, we're looking for sensing and feeling. It's the sensory experience that increases the neuroplasticity. So we're going to start with up slip, down slip. So it's a very small movement with the legs, okay? So we're going to let the right toes come to the ceiling. So you're coming into dorsiflexion of your right foot. So toes to the ceiling. You're on the center of your heel. You take a breath in and you're going to stretch that heel forward like you're trying to push it into the wall in front of you. And then on the exhalation, just let it relax. And then same thing on the left side. Let the left toes come to the ceiling. Bring the toes toward you and extend. Slide your heel on the ground with the inhalation away from the body, toward the wall in front of you. And continue with that breath pattern and movement pattern. So toes to the ceiling, heel extends, slides on the ground, and returns on the exhalation. And then to the other side, toes up, heel extending, sliding on the floor. Release, try to relax the legs in between. So right side or left side, whichever side you're on. One side, I should just say, because I don't know what side you started with, and then the other side. So the other things, we always want to kind of do both sides evenly. So as you're doing that, the more you can scrub that heel along the floor, you're going to start to feel that as that leg moves forward, the other hip starts to elevate slightly and come toward the armpit. So not only is the back of the leg extending, but the hips are beginning to move. So essentially, we're creating gait without a bent knee. So we're creating the walking pattern without the bend in the knee, because the bend in the knee does separate the back body line into a lower line and upper line. But when the leg is straight, the whole line is connected. So we're not jamming the knee. If you jam the knee, the heel will pop off the floor. We don't want the heel off the floor. We definitely want the heel on the ground. So we definitely don't want to be jamming the knee joint. We definitely want to just slide and glide through extending the heel. And on the inhalation, heel slips forward. On the exhalation, it slides back. Inhale, slide the heel. Let it slip back on the exhalation. So back and forth you go. Sliding and gliding. Feeling the whole body begin to move. So you're feeling not just the heel extending, but the whole body sliding. So the buttocks are sliding. Palms are to the ceiling. Arms are externally rotated. Feet are about 18 inches apart. Don't get them too wide. And so I noticed that some of you are sort of on the outer edge of your heel. See if you can really organize your toes straight to the ceiling. So you're on the very center of your heel bone. So rather than you're not externally rotated so much. It's more of a neutral leg. So try to really find the very center of your heel bone as you do this. So extending the heel forward on one leg and then releasing it, and then going to the other side, extending the heel, taking your toes toward your nose, pull your toes back toward your ground. That's it. Extend the heel and then release that, and then the other side. So ideally you don't have a big piece of furniture in front of you, so you have a little bit of room to move. And back and forth you go. So really pull your toes toward your nose and extend your heel away. Let the hips slide down. Feel that buttock flesh. That's your thoracolumbar area getting extension. Your thoracolumbar area is getting extension here. back and forth. So I'm not sure who that is. So you haven't put your name there. So okay, names are gone. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So when you do this, so just everybody can pause for a moment. So I just want to help you a little bit. When you do this action, you're not just bringing your toes toward your face. You're extending your heel on the floor away from you. So the whole leg and buttock should slide. So do a few more with that in mind. So toes to the ceiling. Now really slip. There it is. There it is. That's it. So you want to slide your heel forward on the inhalation. Oh, not too fast. Yeah. Oh, snail, climb Mount Fuji slowly, slowly. So the other thing about fascia is it's not interested in fast movement. It's not interested in automatic movement. It only registers if you go slow enough and you have a rhythm. So go slower, really get that extension through the heel. So the whole length of your inhalation is for extending the heel. The whole length of the exhalation is for relaxing the foot. The whole length of the inhalation is to extend the heel. The whole exhalation is to let it draw back. So try to work with your breath. So it's breath led and gravity fed. You know, so gravity is the feed, and the weight element, you know, the restrictor as it were, and the breath is the motivator. Good. And let go of that. So just let yourself sense and feel. You may feel some sensations in the feet. I would really suggest that you not have socks on for this, because the next phase we're going to be using the feet more, and if you have slippery socks on a slippery blanket, it's not going to be very effective. So I really recommend you take your socks off. Okay, so just pause the movement, sense and feel any vibrations, tingling in the soles of the feet, the legs, the inner legs, anywhere. It can be anywhere along that fascial line or any associated fascia. So actually you can get sensation anywhere and everywhere. And sometimes it's surprising where you feel sensation. So we're looking for tingling, pulsing, gurgling, sighs, changes in breath. Good. And staying in that shape. So some of you have your legs really wide. I would suggest that you have it only about 12 to 18 inches. So some of you need to take the legs in a bit. Some of you need to take the legs out a little bit so that there's room for your sacrum to slide back and forth. Because this next bit is going to involve the sacral movement. Okay. Okay. So here we're going to bend up both legs. I suggest you bend them up one at a time. So bend up the right knee, then bend up the left knee, so that your feet are slightly wider than your hips. And again, if your feet are too far away from you, you're going to be on your tailbone. That's going to give you too much lumbar curve. If you try to take your feet back too far, you're going to flatten or nutate your lower back. That's not right either. So you want to have your feet at about a 60-degree angle, so you're in the middle of your sacrum. It'll be different for people, but try to be in the middle of your sacrum. Feel that. And your arms can be relaxed. They can either be out at the sides. If there's no shoulder problem, you can have them in this goal pose position. Elbows in line with shoulders, arms resting on the floor, parallel, in a straight line up from the elbow. But, and we're going to use the feet a little bit. So again, we're going to understand that stretching of the plantar fascia of the foot is where the back body line starts. All the major body lines start at the sole of the foot. So we're going to start there. So we're going to just gently, feel that you can activate the feet just a tiny bit. And we're going to inhale. You're going to let your pelvis tip, anterior tilt of the pelvis. So we're going to move down toward the bottom part of your sacral bone, pubic bone toward the floor, back of the belt or back body arches up, and then on the exhalation, pubic bone comes toward the face. This sacrum, you come to the waist. The lumbar lengthens and the waist comes to the floor. The pubic bone comes toward the face. So there's a zip up effect. There's a
A narrowing in the front body, transversus abdominis turns on, and then as you inhale, release. Inhale, let the pelvis tip down, and let the chin gently come down with it. So here are the two bony structures at either end of the spine are working, going in the same direction. So pubic bone down, chin down, and exhale, pubic bone back, chin back. So keep your breath, try not to rush, and also don't make it too slow. Just breathe normally and use the feet just a tiny bit if you need to. But inhale, pubic bone down, chin down. Exhale, pubic bone back, chin back. So this is called undulation 1. This is a very primitive motility movement. This is the first movement of the spine. It's related to the gut. It's related to the alimentary canal. It's related to the back brain stem. So really let the weight of the head be heavy. Let the sacrum be heavy. Inhale, pubic bone down, chin down. Exhale, pubic bone back, chin back, nose to the ceiling. So you don't want to jam. You're not going to jam the chin down or jam it back. It's just following. Yeah, so that you initiate through the breath. You let the big heavy bone of the pelvis tilt down, head comes down with it, and then back. Back and forth you go. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting the spine move. And feeling on the inhalation, the distension of the abdomen as the lungs push the air down. The abdomen distends and spreads and softens the pelvic floor. Really important. And then pubic bone back, chin back, and there's a hollowing out. All of the, there's a length of the abdomen and the transversus turn on, the abdominals. And there's a closing of the pelvic floor, a strengthening. So we're working with the superficial front and back line and the deep front line. Yeah, and the deep front line. So we're actually working with 3 parts of the anatomy train's fascial lines. Just breathing and rocking. Just breathing and rocking the 2 bony weights. Just, it's enjoyable. This work is enjoyable and pleasant. And of course, that's pumping. Each time you do that, it's affecting the psoas and and you're connected on the deep front line, the psoas, the deep psoas, postural muscle deep in the body, connected to the front of the spine, and the inside of the top of the leg. It attaches to the diaphragm, the crux of the diaphragm of the lungs. It's affecting your breath. So you're pumping the lymph, you're pumping the fluid system, and we're doing that to hydrate the tissues. So it's a movement that has an intention. And then let the arms come down by your sides, let your legs lengthen out, and let go everywhere. And notice, just looking for sensation. So just noticing any tingling, pulsing, sighs, moans, gurgles. So you don't have to worry because I can't hear you. No one can hear you. Only sounds you want. And let go. Good. Okay, so from here, we're just going to stay in the Shava shape. And we're just going to roll the head from side to side. I would suggest that you open your eyes for this, okay? So you're going to open your eyes, and you're going to let the weight of the head roll to the right, and let your eyes go with you. So rather than your eyes going first, let your eyes stay with you, like you're gazing at something going across the sky. Let's say you're watching a comet go from one side of the room to the other. And so let your eyes stay with the weight of your skull. And you may begin to notice that one side has a little more impingement than the other side. Maybe when you take your head to the side, the chin pulls down or pushes up. Or maybe you just can't go as far on one side as the other. So just begin to notice how that feels. Yeah. We'll work more into those areas when we have more practice under our belts. And then back to the center. So again, like I said, always try to complete both sides. And now we're going to do some arm movements. So let your arms go a little bit closer to your sides. And we're going to start with reaching the arm toward the foot. So I'm going to let my head stay where it is. So let your head stay in the middle. And as you inhale, stretch, slide the back of your arm toward your foot. And then as you exhale, let it slide back. So pretty much like we did with the leg, that we're doing with the arm. You're going to reach that hand down toward its own heel. And then on the exhale, let it slide back. And you're going to alternate right and left, okay? So extend the arm down. Keep the whole back of the arm in on contact with the floor. So don't go so far that the arm starts to pop up or the head starts to come. You really want to keep it in truth. So truly what your range of motion is there without adding anything. And if you want, as you get into the rhythm of that, so inhaling to extend the arm toward the foot, exhaling to let it slide back, you can change the focus in your mind from your hand to your shoulder blade. So move the shoulder blade down and then let it come back and see how that feels. Now let the shoulder blade on the other side move down and let it come back, and just begin to notice, does one shoulder blade move more easily than the other? Is one shoulder blade feels a bit stuck maybe? Anyway, you'll probably know, you'll probably feel that this feels very different maybe on one side than the other. So just sense and feel. Okay, and now we're going to let the head go with the arm. Okay, so the next time, so always finish both sides. The next time, as you reach the arm down, let the head turn toward that side as though you're trying to see that hand, and then let it slide back on the exhalation. So the inhalation, let the hand stretch down, let the head roll, and let it slide back. So now the head is moving with the arm, yeah? So arm reaches down, head goes with that hand, with that arm, and then back to the center. And then on the other side, inhale, stretch the hand toward the foot, reach down, let the shoulder blade move, let the head turn. Yeah, staying on the same side. Don't move the head. You let the head roll. You don't lift the head. There's no lifting. There's no lifting, no lifting. It's the hand is pulling the shoulder blade lets the head come. So it's all sliding and gliding, all sliding and gliding, no lifting. That's it, beautiful. Now pause a moment, and the next time you stretch the next arm down, let the head go in the opposite direction. So the next time you go, don't worry. Let the head try to turn in the opposite direction. Back of the hand is on the floor just now. So let the hand slide. So really let the back of the arm, let your arms externally roll out so the back of your hand is on the floor. So your knuckles are on the floor. Yeah, there you go. And slide. So it's a sliding action. So slide the arm down and let the head try to go in the opposite direction. Don't jam anything. Don't yank anything. And you'll feel that you're beginning to get some length now from the tip of the shoulder into the mastoid process, up the scalenes, sternocleidomastoid, all of those ones that bind the subclavicular, all getting a bit of a stretch there. And it's not a lot of movement. Beautiful. And then just let go. Just completely surrender. And just sense and feel any sensations there, any tingling, pulsing. You feel what you feel. It's not right or wrong. So a lot of us have fascial amnesia. A lot of places where the fascia has been, the pathway to the brain has been disconnected, and we have fascial amnesia that can be from posture, it can be from trauma, emotional or physical, it can be from surgeries, it can be from accident, it can be all kinds of things, okay? So we're just noticing. So this is important that we're just noticing, okay. All right, okay, so we're going to do some side scrubbing now. So we're going to bend up both knees, one at a time. So I always say bend both knees, but really I mean bring your legs up one at a time. And again, keep the feet a hip width apart. Let your arms slide on the floor all the way up, and then interlace your hands and tuck them under your skull. So there you are, resting your head in your hands. making a little basket for your hands, okay? And this is again sliding and gliding. So hopefully you can see me okay. I'll just fix mine in case you need to. Probably don't need to. Really, like I said, this work, we are never shown it. You have to find it in your own body, and it's okay. There's no way you can go too wrong. If it hurts, stop. Basically, any basic body work, you take responsibility for yourself. If it feels awkward or it feels like too much or whatever, you just pause, you stop, okay? And I'll look at the screen every once in a while, okay? So from here we are with our head in our hands. Yeah, thumbs under the base of the skull, go up. And then as we inhale, we're going to slide the right elbow way back behind you on a diagonal. So the elbow goes, one elbow goes back, the other elbow comes down toward the opposite hip. And the head can roll in your hands. It's like you're trying to look, it's like somebody's come in the doorway there and asked you if you want a cup of tea. And you slide back to answer them, yes, please. And then back you come to center, okay? Let's do the other side. Inhale, let that elbow go to the corner of the room or the corner of the mat. I mean, in theory, if you're in a square room with corners, which you may not be, and your mat is parallel to the screen, then your elbow's reaching to the corner. The other elbow reaches toward its own hip. So we're opening up the intercostal muscles. This is the lateral line. So the lateral line goes from the outer baby toe all the way up the side body, up into the IT band, the TFL, quadratus lumborum, into the intercostals, into the lat, into the arm lines, into the front and back body line. So back and forth you go. This is called side scrub. So we're scrubbing, we're sliding on the floor, letting one elbow go back as much as possible, then back to the center. On the exhalation, inhale to extend. So inhale to move away from the midline and exhale to return. Inhale to slide away, exhale to return. And some of you, I can't see your upper body. So Diane, if you could move further down on your mat, just a little bit further down. Don't sit up, honey. There you go. Beautiful. Yeah, don't sit up. Just try to scoot yourself down. Try to keep the head quiet. Okay. Those are lovely. So there's your side line. Your lateral line is what connects your front and back lines. So often that gets really shortened from sitting and it gets weak. Yeah. So again, kind of remove your socks if possible. Yeah. No socks. And tuck your blankets in. Yeah. And ideally you don't get up. It's really difficult for the head. It can make you rush up into the head. So this is very quieting work. And if you stand or jump up, it's going to go up into your brain. So please really try not to get up. If you do get up, always roll to your side, push through your hands and sit up very, very slowly so that your head comes up last. I don't know, you don't have your name on the screen, my friend with the pink flowers on your tights that did just get up. Can you please remove your socks? Okay. Okay, and then coming back to center, just let go. Just let go. Arms down by your side, legs long, sense and feel, breathe. And just notice any changes in the breath, any changes in the shape of the rib cage. Okay, so we're going to do just a little bit more for the shoulders. Okay, so let's bend up the knees and feet are hip width apart. And we're going to make this old-fashioned typewriter. So knees are bent, feet are slightly wider than hips. You're going to stretch your arms to the ceiling. So just take your arms straight up without taking your shoulders off the floor. So keep your shoulders down, neck long, and just reach across and hold each elbow point with your fingertips, okay? So we're maybe we're going to do the legs first. Yeah, let's do the legs first. Sorry. Okay, let your arms just rest by your sides for a moment. So you've got both feet now. So remember I talked about that plantar fascia action of extending the soles of the feet. So if you can lift your toes up and keep your toe mounds on the ground, you'll feel that plantar fascia in the sole of your foot lengthen. And you want to keep that action through the whole of this. So as you inhale, you're going to let your both knees go to the side. And your sole of your foot's going to extend. So you're on the inner edge of one foot and the outer edge of the other foot. And you exhale to come back to center. And then the same thing to the other side. You bend, let the knees go to the side. So you're on the inner edge of one foot, the outer edge of the other. So my feet are in flexion. And that's the anchor. If I let my feet be soft, I don't feel much. I just flop around. But when I go to dorsiflexion of my feet, when I really fully open the plantar fascia, now I'm connecting the line. Now I'm connecting the lateral line. It's like a pair of old-fashioned stirrup tights. It comes under from the sole of the foot. It comes under, out the side, up the lateral line, over the ankle, over the outer knee, over the outer hip, up through the ribs into the shoulder and arm. And then exhale to come back to center. Inhale to let both legs roll. Keep the feet in flexion. Dorsiflexion, that means toes toward you, toes up, back and forth. Okay, plantar flexion is something different, and it's confusing because it's the plantar fascia. But in any case, stretch the sole of your foot, let your legs roll from side to side, breathe into it, and you can play around with the tension in the foot, and you can really feel the difference when you don't have the tension, when you do have the tension. So there's positive tension. So sometimes we need to create the right kind of tension in the body to release tension that's not useful or helpful. Okay. And now we're going to, so you're doing that a few times. It's really lovely for your pelvis. One leg is externally rotating, one is internally rotating. All of that is really good for the hip sockets, all the lymph around there, all the lymph nodes, pumping the lymph through the system. Okay, and then feet to the center. Okay, now we can reach the arms to the ceiling, hold the outer elbows, draw your elbows up a little bit, but try not to take your shoulders completely off the floor and let your head fall back. So keep the back of the skull, nicely lengthened, and the back of the neck lengthened, and holding the outer elbows. Now, elbows go one way, yeah, and legs go the other. So old-fashioned typewriter, knees go one way, elbows go the other. So inhaling to come to center. Exhaling, inhaling to go to the side. So legs go one way, elbows go the other. Back to the center on the exhalation. Inhale, go to the opposite direction. And believe it or not, the head goes with the knees this time. So the head is going in opposition to the arms, and it won't go very far because actually there's a bit of restriction going on. So we're doing that intentionally to create compression, decompression in the nerve plexus, in the lymph, in the arteries, the veins, the nerves of the thoracic outlet, because that's the vagus nerve. So we're really doing this with intention to get into the rest of the line, which goes up the sides of the neck and into the face. So back and forth you go, rocking and rolling. Okay, and then pause. Just stay in the middle, and knees are just parallel, and arms up, elbows up to the ceiling. And you're going to use your eyes here. So the eyes and the two-fingered space at the base of your skull are connected. So when we say you have eyes in the back of your head, it's really true. That is connected. There's movement there. We could do an experiment with that later, another time. You're holding the elbows, and you're going to do little circles. So what you're going to do is you're going to track. You're going to look at your forearms. You're going to look right at your forearms, and let your arms begin to make a circle. So take them to the side, elbows to the side, then start to take them up toward the head. And keep looking at your arms. So you cannot take the arms out of your eyesight. So actually it's a circular action. Go to the other side, and then it comes down toward the front, and your eyes are following your forearms. So really you're doing circles with your skull, circles with your shoulders, and just sense and feel. Maybe there's one place where it feels a little more difficult. So sense and feel. So even people who have a lot of range of motion, what we call the tempo dancers, the truth is that although you may have range of motion in your joints, you don't always have the fascia. You can have a lot of felting in your fascia, which means that the transference of load isn't equalized and you're more prone to injury. So just be aware that moving slowly has a big payoff. So people who move easily, if you get bored, that you're not actually, this is really about reorganizing tissue. This is very simple movement, and simple movement has a profound effect. So we're doing these movements with particular kind of intention. And then you've done a couple of circles one way, and then you've done a couple of circles the other way. You've reversed the circle now. Just get the shoulders moving a little bit, the skull moving a bit. Good. And then just rest the arms down by your side. Let your legs stretch out, sense and feel. Tingling, pulsing. Let go, surrender, and feel. Okay, so now we're going to amp it up a little bit. So we're going to knee, feet come up. Okay, again, hip width apart. Okay, let's lay the arms, go out to the side, and then again, interlace the fingers behind the skull. So interlacing the fingers behind the skull, we're going to go into undulation 2. So undulation 2 has a little more energy to it, so just be aware. So again, always work within your comfort zone. Always work with your body. Use your intelligence, and if it feels awkward or it feels like too much, you can pause and go back to something previous to this, okay? Interlacing the fingers under your skull, not your neck. Under your skull bone, not your neck. And as we inhale, we're going to push the elbows into the ground. Push the elbows into the ground. Let your head roll back. So let your nose go toward the ceiling and take your pubic bone down. So now the two bony structures are moving away from each other. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the elbows together. Let the chin come down. Let the pubic bone come toward the face. Reach your elbows toward your knees and come into undulation, okay? So now the two bony structures are moving toward one another. And then on the inhalation, they move away from one another. So elbows push down, head rolls back, pubic bone rolls down, hip bones roll down. Exhale, elbows come together, head comes in, pubic bone and face come toward one another. So there's your transverse abdominis, your rectal abdominals, okay? Doing some work, compression, decompression, pumping the body, pumping the system, inhaling, exhaling to come into posterior tilt, inhaling to go into anterior tilt of the pelvis and the skull. So cervical lumbar movement in the spine, compression, decompression in the muscles and the fluid body. Inhaling to spread the elbows, really push down there. Exhale to bring the elbows together. Really bring, if you bring the elbows together, it's much easier. And you're only bringing the head and the shoulders off the floor. You're working in your upper thoracic spine in the area between your shoulder blades, rhomboids, which connect underneath the shoulder blades to the serratus, which come around and attach to your ribs. So you're squeezing and pumping the rib cage, which we've already opened with the side scrubs. Yeah, so we are gently releasing old patterns and moving in new patterns that strengthen eccentric loading. Yeah. Inhale to open the elbows and the abdomen. Hips roll down, the abdomen spreads, and on the exhalation, pubic bone comes toward face, face comes toward pubic bone, elbows squeeze, head puts down. Okay, so undulation 2 is a little more strength in it. Elbows must come together, Maeve. So Maeve, the elbows need to come together first, Priscilla. Okay, so really, stretch the elbows down. Oh, pause. Okay, on that inhalation, really press your elbows down into the ground. Let your chin go back to the wall behind you, nose to the ceiling.
And pubic bone down toward the floor. There's the inhalation. Feel it. Feel it. Abdomen expands. Yeah, there's a lift in the lumbar. Lumbar extends. Now squeeze those elbows together. On the exhalation, squeeze the elbows together. Release the elbows first. Elbows, squeeze them. Make them touch. Make your elbows touch. Ah, yes. Let your chin come down and bring your head and your pubic bone toward one another. There it is. It's the elbows that do the work. Okay, now open the elbows up and press the elbows down and arch the back, arch the neck, arch the lower back, extension of the spine. Now compression, squeeze the elbows. Let the chin come in gently. Squeeze those elbows though. Squeeze the elbows. Maybe hands need to be higher. Maybe hands are too low. You know, make sure those hands are on the back of your skull. Yes, Maeve. You got it. Okay. Make sure it's on your skull and not in your neck. Okay. And then down you come, don't you? And you can hold. I mean, you can hold for a breath or two. Once you get a rhythm going, once you get really good at this and you get a rhythm going, you can hold for a second or two and really feel those shapes, but don't lose your rhythm. It's the breath rhythm that's so important. So the other thing about the plasticity, neuroplasticity, is that it really likes rhythm, and it likes, really likes rhythm. Okay, and then we're going to let that go. So down you come. So that gets more complicated. It gets stronger and stronger. Okay, this is just an intro. This is a hello. This is a hello to the Sacha vocabulary. It's kind of giving a nodding the head so I can see it's about under fascial. It's different. Okay. Okay, so now you're lying down. You're in your Shavasana, and just sense and feel. Just breathe and notice any sensations. Tingling, pulsing, changes in breath, changes in body shape. Yeah, just okay. So from here, arms are out to the side. You're going to keep your left leg, keep your right leg long, and bend up your left leg. So bend up your leg so that your foot is close to it's kind of in line with your other knee, sort of, wherever it naturally comes to. Don't force it. Just let it come up. Just bend the knee. And on the inhalation, we're going to roll. So this is called unwinding one. So on the inhalation, again, I'm going to bring that foot, the foot of the bent knee is going to be in plantar. It's going to be in plantar flexion. Okay, so I'm going to lift my toes up so that I feel that stretch in the sole of my foot. And then I'm going to push that foot into the floor. Inhale, let the knee come across the body. Let the opposite shoulder hang heavy. Let the skull stay where it is. And feel that your ribs kind of want to roll back toward the floor where they left. And then exhale, let yourself drop back with the weight of the bones and the breath. So push with the foot. Inhale, let the knee cross the body. Let the arm hang heavy, the shoulder. And then on the exhalation, navel moves to spine and the weight of the pelvis rocks you back. The big bony weight of the pelvis rolls you back. Press and roll on the inhalation across, let the knee cross the body. Let the arm hang heavy behind you. So now you're going into the spiral line, the lateral line and the spiral line, going up into the pec minor, pec major, in the front of the body, at the top of the arm, at the top of the chest, and also the lower body. So you're getting a beautiful, this is very good to get space between the lumbar and sacrum. So L5, S1 gets a slight rotational movement here. It's quite healthy to get some movement in these places that maybe haven't moved in a long, long time. So easy does it. Sense and feel. These movements should feel quite luscious. It feels sort of self-indulgent. I always feel like I'm yawning on the inside. You know, it's like I feel that satisfaction of a yawn. It's something that happens to the tissue that I don't get anywhere else except in this work. Over you come, and then back you go. Sensing and feeling. Unwinding one. And again, this has 6 or 7 variations. We're going to
just introduce the vocabulary today. So this is the vocabulary of sensational movement. Just enjoying the breath, rocking the bones, sliding and gliding, rocking and rolling. And then down you come, let the arms come down by your sides, stretch that leg out, and just notice, sense and feel. See if you feel any differences between the right and left side. Maybe you feel a different shape entirely. Maybe one side feels longer, softer, closer to the floor. Maybe the other side feels lumpier, and you can kind of really feel your ups and downs and ins and outs on the other side. And then let's do the other side. So let's bend up the left leg, have foot on the floor. And again, let the toes come up so you know that you've got some opening in the plantar fascia of the sole of the foot. Press the inner edge of the foot down. Inhale, let the knee come across the body. Let the arm hang heavy. Keep your arm in line with your shoulder so that you're really getting the benefit of the pec, the stretch of the pec major and the pec minor. So this is lateral line and spiral line. And the head can roll toward the backhand if you want. Keep the ribs, feel the ribs rather than you taking the whole rib cage. Get a feeling that you press the foot and take the knee across, but the ribs want to stay back and the shoulder wants to be heavy and the arm. And back and forth you go, rocking and rolling, breathing, inhaling to push and roll across. And exhaling to reach, let the arm reach out a little bit, let the hips rest back down. And really feel that on that, as the knee comes across, the abdomen distends on the inhalation. And on the exhalation, the navel falls back toward the spine, brings the back of the head is sliding with you. We do add on to this the psoas, but not today. Knee comes across, elbow back, hips come down. Sense and feel. Is it different on this side than the other side? One side easier, one side more difficult? Just sense and feel. And then back to the center and let both legs go down. Let both arms be by your sides. Let go and just feel. Tingles, pulses. Maybe you're starting to feel that you've got a longer side body, maybe your waist, the separation between the pelvis and the ribs from all the sitting. When we do a lot of sitting, the ribs sit up, literally sit on the pelvis, yeah? So getting some space back in the quadratus lumborum, in the obliques, getting some length. And that's going to change the pull of the diaphragm. So when we work this deeply, we're changing the relationship between the upper and lower body, bringing the deeper elements together, working more together in cooperation with one another. So we get collected and connected. There may be tingling in lots of different areas here. So just let it, just sense and feel, maybe the inner thighs, the groin area, the side waist, the feet. It could be up in the shoulder, the neck. It depends on where the fascial line. We're all different, and we all have a different story. So how that plays out in the fascia will be different. Just enjoying that. Okay, and so we're going to come onto our side now. So you're going to take your, bend up your, so the leg that's closest to the screen, keep that long, bend the opposite leg up, and the arm that's closest to the screen, stretch that arm behind your head. So lengthen it on the floor, so you're long on one side, yeah? And then you're gonna roll onto that side. So let yourself roll onto your hip. And so now your feet, you put your legs on top of one another. And your bottom arm, you're going to come up with your hand that's in front is on the floor, yeah? And you're going to come up so that you lift up the ribs and you lengthen. And then as you go down, you're going to slide down and open up your rib cage. You open up your bottom ribs a bit. So down you, if you can manage that. And your heels are really extending. So really push through your heels again. And you want your heels and your sacrum and the back of your skull to be in line. So watch out for coming forward. So often there's banana asana. Yeah, head comes forward, legs go back, or whatever. Yeah, so either jackknife or banana. But try to keep that arm long. You can look at that hand, make sure it's long. Okay, head is resting, chin is level. So not pulling my chin down either. Okay, so really extending your heels. This is going to turn the abdominals on a bit. And then I'm going to take my upper arm, put it over my hip. Whoa, try to keep your balance. This is a balancing pose. Stretch your arm over your head and reach up with your bottom hand and grab with your thumb and your finger your wrist and pull. So I'm going to lengthen. So as I lengthen and pull my wrist one way, so my rib cage is opening and moving up, and my heel is pushing and moving my hips and my side body, my back waist down, so that the abdominals pull back into the body. So this is Uddiyana Bandha on your side, side lying Uddiyana Bandha. And believe me, it's just as effective and a lot less strain. And just breathe into that. So there's a feeling of a vacuum in the abdomen. The heel is extending, the arm is extending, the neck is soft. Keep the neck soft, don't strain in the face. And take a few breaths there. And then release. Nice and slow, just let yourself roll back. Use your bent leg, let yourself roll back. And keep that leg bent. Keep the arm reaching. We're going to come back again. So keep that knee bent. Keep the knee now bent and the foot behind you. So now we're not putting the leg on top of the other leg. We're keeping it behind us. And we're just going to let yourself roll forward a little tiny bit on your ribs and keep that knee that's in the air. Keep it back. Don't let it come with you. And then roll back a little bit. So I just kind of roll back onto my side ribs. Then I kind of roll. So I'm stimulating the skin there. I'm keeping the knee back. Keep the knee back. Keep the foot grounded. Yeah, so then back you come. That softens it. And then I push. So just rocking the rib cage, the upper ribs a little bit, the side ribs. And this knee, this is staying stable. So that I'm trying to keep that foot down and the knee to the ceiling. You may not move very far. That's fine. It may only be an inch or two. Sometimes we do this with balls. Anyway, today we're doing it like this. Okay, then down you come, down you come, down you come. Oh, lift your back body, stretch. And just notice that. So how does that feel? And again, just noticing the two sides of the body. Just sense and feel, looking for sensation, tingling, pulses, gurgles, moans, groans, sighs, any kind of release. And remove the energy. Every time there's sensation, you know something's happened. Okay, we're going to do the other side. So bend up the other leg and stretch out the other arm long and then roll to your side. So now you're on your side and put your top leg on top of your bottom leg and extend through your heels. And the bottom bit of the body, you can use your top hand to lift up a little bit. So this is kind of a little bit strengthening for the ribs. And then I'm going to lengthen. As I slide down, I'm lengthening those bottom ribs. I'm really opening up those bottom ribs. Ooh. And this is quite tricky to balance if you're really on your side. If you're not in a banana shape, it should take a little bit of abdominal strength to stay here. So now stretch the top arm over, clasp with the finger and the thumb, pull the ribs. So pull that arm to engage, yeah, the ribs going up and the hips going down and the abdomen coming back and sucking into the body, Uddiyana Bandha. Throat soft, so you're still able to breathe even though the abdominals are turned right on. So strengthening the inner body, drawing the front and back closer together. And then release that and roll onto your back. Let that knee bend. Okay. Oh, that was a moment there. Just let go before you do the next bit. And then try to keep that foot and knee where it is. You may need to adjust it a little bit depending on your groin opening, depending on how where you're. Some of us are external rotators, some of us are internal rotators. Just, pay attention, okay? And again, roll into your side and keep that foot back and that knee up. Try to maintain that as you gently let your ribs rock to the front and then rock to the back. And rock to the front, keep the knee back, and rock to the back. So you're going to feel the glute, actually what you're doing is engaging you're strengthening, lengthening the psoas and strengthening, okay? Adductors, glutes. Let the ribs just roll just a little bit, maybe an inch or two in the rib cage. Not a whole lot, but the foot and the knee is staying put, staying back. A little bit of strengthening work. After all that softening in the hip flexors, and then back you roll, down you come, and then back on your back. And you just let go everywhere. Sigh, moan, groan. Tingles, pulses. Okay. So we're going to roll onto our tummies now. So stretch your arm and leg out. And just use bend your back leg and just tuck and roll. So you just kind of tuck and roll. So you stay low. You're going to stay on the ground. Now, there's loads of different ways we're going to still working, primarily on the back body line. And one good thing to work on the back body line will really help people with lower. So, by the way, when you have lower back problems, back body line is really important. And all those up slip, down slips that we did with the heels are crucial for good sacroiliac lower back stuff. And it's even more effective this way. So you're lying on your belly. You're going to put your hands on top of one another and rest your forehead on your hands. And you're going to tuck your toes under. So you're going to walk your toes toward your face. Walk your toes under and really extend your heels longer than your toes. Now there's plantar flexion. Now you really have the soles of your feet stretching. So your heels are stretching away. Your feet are only a hip width apart, so 8 to 12 inches, not a lot. You're lengthening your thoracolumbar area, which gets pinched. And then we're going to slide over to the right. So I'm going to slide my upper body one way, and I'm going to push through my heels, especially the heel I'm leaving. So especially the heel on that right side, push the heel and let the upper body slide. Then come back to the center, and you're going to feel this in the front body. You're definitely going to feel this deep in the psoas as well. Okay, so we're going to go the other way. So I'm going to push through that heel, and I'm going to slide my body around as much as possible. I'm still trying to keep my hip bones on the ground, by the way, and I'm really pushing through that back heel, and then back to the center. And repeat, push through the heel, and slide your body around. So your hands are on your head. Your head's on your hands. Hands are on top of one another. Your hands are on top of one another. Your head is on your hands. And you just shift. Remember before we did the elbow thing? Just slide to one side and try to push through the heel that you're leaving. The side that you're leaving, keep the head down. Keep the head down. Head down, just keep your forehead on your hands. Believe me, it's fine. You don't have to look at anything. Then back to center. Then other way, just trust that you've got it. Okay, trust. And if you're going wildly wrong, I will let you know. Yeah, you stay down on the ground though. You don't lift up. There's no lifting involved. You're not lifting. You're sliding. No. Elbows are bent. Your head your head stays on your hands and just your elbows are bent. They stay bent. And you go from side to side. I don't know who that is. That's it. Okay. Okay, those are pretty good actually, side to side. And then in the center, stay in the center. And let's do some heel rocks. Okay, so from here, just do some heel rocks. So move your heels back and forth. You're just kind of sliding on your pubic bone a little bit. Okay. Yeah. And then let the lower legs rock from side to side. Just let the, like an old-fashioned windshield wiper. Let the legs feet it to the ceiling. Just let the legs, feet are soft. Let them go right and left. And then let them cross. Let them drop back and forth. Let them drop back and forth. Good. And then let them lower down. Okay. And again, tuck the toes under. Walk your toes toward your face. Extend your heels. And keep them there. And now from here, take a breath. You're going to lift the head a little bit. So you're going to lift the head so you're looking at the front edge of your mat, maybe a foot ahead. And as you inhale, you're going to stretch up like you're trying to roll a ball. So I have balls that I use that we might introduce later. So my elbows kind of turn in a bit, but my hands sort of spiral on top. They spin on top of one another. And that helps me as I push my forearms down, my shoulder blades can move down into my back hips. So your shoulder blades slide into your back pockets, and exhale, lengthen your sternum as you rest back down. Rest the head, rest the legs, and then again, push the heels back so the thighs are engaged. Take a breath, inhale, lift the head. Keep pressing the forearms down, let the hands spin, let the elbows come in a bit, stretch the chest forward, try to roll the ball forward, move your shoulder blades into your back pocket, and then exhale, lengthen your abdomen, lengthen your chest, let yourself rest down, rest. And let your toes come long. So now come onto the tops of your feet, under your toes. And just let's shift your hips left and right. Just shift your hips a little bit. Just let them roll. Just rock. Let the way the pelvis rock. And let's lift the head. Now let's take the arms. Let the arms separate now so that your elbows are underneath your shoulders and your palms are in line with your elbows. And ideally, you're not sinking your neck like a turtle down. You're not, hiding from the world. Press your elbows down. Stretch your chest. Keep your hip bones grounded. So it's really in the upper thoracic spine. We're really not going into the lumbar. You're not going into your lumbar. Shoulder blades down. Take a breath or two. And then exhale, let yourself come down. Let's stretch your arms out to the side. So they're kind of on a diagonal, yeah, kind of off to the corners of the blanket, sort of that, maybe a little bit wider than that. Forehead is on the ground. And take a breath and lift your head, and you're going to pull yourself up. Slide up, and then slide down. And you can tuck the toes under and heels back and do the same thing. Slide up. A little bit, not very far, and then down you come. Let's slide the arms in front of you. So take your arms in front of you, up over your head, and you're going to put your palms together like a prayer. Yeah, so you're going to have your palms together. Prayer hands, yeah? You're going to inhale, slide your elbows toward your chest until you're up on your elbows, and then let your forearms come up. And rest your skull, rest your eye bones, in the inner part of the orbit of the eye socket, into the bone of the thumb. So my fingers are kind of pointing slightly to the ceiling, but maybe slightly ahead. And I hook my thumb bone on my eyebrows, on the inner eyebrows. And I just breathe. Breathe into it. Breathe. Take a few breaths. Now this is stronger when you put your thumb You can put your thumbs there on those 2 points and fingers to the ceiling, but that can be too much pressure for some people. So please just keep it soft for today. Hook your thumb knuckle. Now here, can you slide your elbows forward and open your armpits? So you slide your elbows forward, continue to open your armpits so that your shoulders are moving away from your ears. Yeah, and then stretch your arms forward, let your head rest. Let's repeat that. Stretch the arms forward, and then you can bring your elbows back. Let the forearms come up so you're on your elbows. Support your head with your thumb bones. Slide your elbows out. Feel your shoulder blades move, and then stretch your arms, head down. Tuck your toes under. Stretch your heels back. We're going to do the same thing. Slide the arms in so that you're on your elbows. Your chest is up. Your hands come up toward the ceiling. Rest your head and your thumb. Keep your heels back. Now from here, slide your elbows forward. Let your shoulder blades move. And then stretch yourself down. Hands forward. And relax. And relax. Let's take our hands back by our sides toward our ribs and gently push so that your head comes up. And then you can push into your hands, come up onto all fours. And if you can, do sit in child pose. Now I know this pose is not available to everyone. I would unhook my blanket from the top of my mat because I'm going to do some different stuff now. So I can, fold my blanket back. If you find that child pose is not available to you, you can sit on a bolster, or you can put blocks there, or you can put a ball there. I saw somebody had an over ball earlier. Nice courageous ball, so you can have whatever you have. Okay, and just let yourself rest. Now, you may need a brick or something for your head, or a folded blanket. Let your arms rest. Feel your back rounded, child pose. So hopefully there's a lot more opening in the thoracolumbar area because we've done a lot to hydrate. So that particular big kite shape that I showed on the skeleton has been hydrated. So there'll be a difference in the back body line. And then we're going to use our hands to slowly come up to a kneeling position if that's available to you. If that's not available to you, you can have something to sit on, some blocks or balls, whatever you can have, whatever you have handy. Sitting up. So I just want to say that dog pose is not available to everyone, and maybe just come out of your dog pose is not available to everyone. And I would say that without having done some work on the upper body, it's not really a great idea, although it's perfect for the sequence because it shows you how much the back body line has changed. But what I want to do is give you just a little bit of an introduction on how to use the hands and the arms. So if you could fold up your blankets into a 4. So this is a double fold, yeah? And then I fold it again, yeah? So I want that to be under my knees, yeah? But I want my feet to be able to be on the sticky mat and my hands on the mat. So I'm just going to show you, I'm going to do it 2 ways. I'm going to do it sideways in a minute. But for now, I just want to do it facing you. So I've got a second mat. This is just for me. This is just so I can demonstrate. Okay? So people who do a lot of yoga do a lot of overstretching of the back body line, which is not the same as integrating it fascially, okay? There's a big difference. In any case, we can have some fibers that are very hydrated, and we have fibers right along next to it that are dehydrated, and that's usually where injuries happen. But the other thing is people don't really know how to use the arms and the shoulder girdle well enough, and so they get shoulder problems, or they come into most of my students have shoulder problems. They come with shoulder problems. Okay, so
we're going to learn to work with the hands a bit. So let's we're going to learn, this is also good for the people who are working a lot on computers. So see if you can see my map. Okay, so this is for the hands, okay? So you have a diaphragm in your palm. You have 7 diaphragms in the body, and we've been working them all day. The first diaphragm is the diaphragm of the foot, which we used a lot. Then we used the diaphragm behind the knee, the popliteal, the small, and the ankle as well. And then we did the pelvic floor diaphragm and the diaphragm, the breath diaphragm. There's a diaphragm in the throat, and there's one in the jaw, and one in the skull. But anyway, there's also there's diaphragms everywhere. There's diaphragms in the palms of the hand. So when this is the weight-bearing part, is the first 3 fingers. This is the balancing part. The back, this baby finger, that finger, ring finger is the balancing part. This is the weight-bearing part. It has to do with the cross of the bones. I won't go into all the anatomy. But in any case, we want to pull up. So you want to dome your palm up so that you're pulling like you're trying to puff the mat up. So you pull your fingers and thumb toward one another to create strength in the palm and in the forearm. This creates strength in the flexors of the arm, which is really important if you're using a computer. So you just go around your mat. You can do this with me. Go ahead. So you just kind of pull your fingers and your thumb toward one another. Quite a strong movement, and it's more of an upward action. So rather than trying to close my hand, I'm not trying to close my fingers. I'm trying to go up, up, up. And that's gonna, you can set, if you do it for a while and you go faster, your arm starts to get tired. So do it faster. Ooh, then do the other side, do the other hand. Maybe one hand's stronger than the other. Come on your knees, you don't have to sit down if you don't want to. Okay? And then you can shake your hands out a little bit and give your hands a little bit of a wag. Yeah, and shake your hands out a little bit just to relax them. Okay. Okay. I know this is a little bit, this is a little side road, but it's an important side road, okay? It's an important it's not a shortcut, it's a long cut, okay? But we really need to have strong hands, arms to be centered in the shoulder joint, just as important as the hip, the femur being centered in the pelvis, okay? So when you do your dog pose or anything like that, you want to be able to make sure that you really have contact with this 3 points, yeah? So the palm, the mound of the finger, the mound of the thumb, and the base of the thumb. And that's the balancing, that's the weight-bearing part. For the arms, so maybe you can do this with me. I suggest you can watch once and then do it with me. So what we do is it's really helpful for your shoulder. If anybody has a shoulder problem, this is going to sort you right out, okay? First of all, I kind of pull my fingers and thumbs a little bit toward one another. I grip the mat so that my palm doesn't leave the floor, but I'm not splatting my hand. So there's a lift inside my palm that you just had when you did this. And then I'm going to bend my elbows, and I'm going to imagine I've got a great big beach ball here. So I'm going to bend my elbows. I'm going to swing my elbows in to grab the beach ball, and then I'm going to lift the beach ball up into my chest. So here I'm going to draw the ball up, and what that's going to do, it's going to stabilize my arms in my shoulder socket. Okay, so grip with the fingers a little bit, bend the elbows, lower your chest, bring your elbows in, grab the beach ball with your inner elbows, lift the beach ball up, and you'll feel your abdominals engage, and you'll feel that you're strong in your shoulder girdle. And make sure your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Or maybe 10 degrees further forward, but not underneath you, not behind you. The wrist doesn't even like to be at 90, never mind less than that. So don't do that, We want more dorsiflexion in the ankle, but not in the wrist. Those are brilliant. Okay, so do it again. Just bend your elbows. Now swing your elbows in, grab the beach ball, and lift the beach ball up into your chest. Lift the beach ball up so that you open between your shoulder blades. What you feel is your shoulder blades widen, your abdomen comes back toward your spine, and your shins are lightly pressing down, tops of the feet are lightly pressing down. And now you're in all fours position. So you're in a strong position there. Okay, so for those people who do dog pose on a regular basis, and then let's come back. So let's come off the hands, sit back or kneel up. If sitting is not possible, just kneel, yeah? And do under your wrists, yeah? So you can maybe let the backs of your hands rest and just a little bit of lengthening in the arms, just tiny, tiny. Let the backs of the hands open. So the palm, you feel now, pulls the palm back. And that's really good for your wrists. Easy does it. You know, these things are done lightly. Keep the hands close to the body, not too far away, not too much weight. You have to gauge your weight. There's a whole variety of these. There's a whole variety of positions that we do to help our wrists. And then let's just do some releasing. The arm. So another way to really release the arms, I'm just going to elevate my Another way to release the arms is to stretch the arms out to the side. Yeah, both arms. And you so you're straight out to the side, make fists, and then pull your fist down. And you will stretch the flexors, the ones we just strengthened, the ones we use all the time in dog pose. They also need to lengthen. This is flossing, okay? You're flossing the fascia. And then you can do it with flat hands as well. Fingers down, fingers up. So you're flossing the fascia, which has all the nerves around those muscles that are being held in particular positions, especially if you do a lot of screen work or dog pose. Okay, so just to make life simple, I think I wanted to have you ground in your legs, but I think that probably isn't going to be possible because we've run out of time. So you could do here dog pose if you do dog pose. That would get you grounded in your legs, and you could walk into your Uttanasana, and you could roll up your spine, and you could do Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg pose with your head resting on a chair. Yeah. Okay, we'll bring that in next week, maybe. People can always send me an email. And allow yourself to roll onto your side. Take your arm over your head and roll to your side. Keep your knees up quite high. And then roll to your side, and then slowly look down at your hand. As you look down, use your hand, just press down with your hands and walk your head up. So you press with your hands, you roll to your side, and you just look down at your hand and you walk yourself up so your head comes up absolutely last. Let your head come up last so your brain stays quiet. So we don't want to hit the brain by coming up head first. The head comes up last, and then you just find any comfortable position that allows you to access your spine. And that means that usually there's an anterior tilt of the pelvis, Deirdre. So slight anterior tilt of the pelvis. Make sure you're on some blocks or something for your bottom. We want a little bit of that rolling, well, a little tiny bit of that tip of the pelvis. It's small, but what it does is it'll really allows the sacrum to be in the right place so the spine can elevate out of that. And elbows are in, and let the hands rest heavy on your thighs. Now I've got a short trunk and long arms, so that's easy for me. If that's not easy for you, if you've got just the opposite, you can always have something for your hands. So let those elbows swing in so you feel that nice broadening over the chest. And again, I think you just let your head come back a little bit. I like to take my hand and put it on the back of my head. Just rest it there, and then I push my head just gently, move my head back into my hand. Just to get rid of that forward head habit, because it's strong. You know how much work we do, okay? And then just sit. Eyes closed. And just pay attention to how it feels now to be kind of in this transition. So letting the blood pressure readjust, coming into a different relationship with gravity, feeling where is their space, where is their length, is there length between the shoulders and the cheekbones, between the ribs and the pelvis, between the top of the thigh and the lower abdomen, where is there space, between the center of the armpit and the hips. Length, ease, balance, equanimity, poise. Maybe you feel you're more even on your buttock bones than usual. Just notice what you notice. And looking for space, softness, balance, connection. You might feel more connected, more collected. And then let the head come down. So let the chin come into the notch of the throat without dropping the chest. So that when you open your eyes, you're looking down at the floor. So it's a very soft gaze. So that when the head comes up, the eyes stay soft. So there's this outer drishti, but an inner focus. Huh? So don't lose that kind of connection you've made, even though you can see when you're out there. You're also in here. So I hope that you found that. So it's, as always, a pleasure and a privilege. So thank you for coming today. We've gone a little bit over, so I want to thank Kay. I'm very grateful to all of you for showing up, and I'm particularly grateful to Donna Kosha and to Kay personally for maintaining the connection with me and with the work and inviting me to do this. I think this work is profound. This is a taste. This is a toe in the water. And we can do more next week and the week after and the week after. I would suggest, if it's possible, for you to buy some equipment if you don't have it. I did notice somebody had a overball. Huh? These are very inexpensive. You get them from a few quid on the internet, all different prices. This is a really cheap one from Decathlon. I also have an expensive one from Yoga Tune-Up. It all works. It's what you can afford. These are miraculous. I want to say these are the Sensi balls from Trim Bio that I get. These are used by Karen Gertner, who is the woman who adapted movement from Tom Meyer's work to movement. And if you have these, we can do a whole lot more. I am going to start you can order them. They'll come in a few days. And the other thing is a small ball, any kind of soft, small ball. Now, it could be a tennis ball, but a tennis ball is actually a little bit too hard. These are Yoga Tune-Up balls. These are quite expensive, but they give. You see, they give. They're rubber, and they give. And as you work with them, they get almost like clay. They really mold. They're fabulous. But I bought, a doggy-type ball that has some give. Now, they vary quite a lot. You don't want it too hard. If it's too hard, again, the fascia just says, I'm not interested. It's too strong. Okay, so you want something that gives, because that's what's going to move the fascial tissue. And so I would say you could probably all get a hold of a small ball so we can do some foot rolling for next week. We can work on the back body line from the foot a little bit differently from standing, okay? So that's a good one. Has a lot of give. Huh? But you could use a doggy ball or a tennis ball. I guess is a little bit hard, but it's better than nothing. But for the rest of the body, we do need something. Look at the give in that. Okay, these have little nubs. These are not pointy bits. They're nubs. They're really soft. They're stubby. And these are fantastic. So if you can get these, I would really recommend it. However, you can do it with maybe a small roll towel. So bring elastic bands to keep the roll tight. Yeah, if you don't want to invest in some balls, okay? But all that information is on the website, isn't it, Kay? It's all on the website. Sorry, everybody. It's all on the website. If you have any questions, Shuddhasara 3. @gmail.com, or go on my website, www.bodyintelligence.yoga. It's all on Kay's website. She's giving you everything. I hope that you've had a good experience.